like, there are those faces like, you recognize them as really kind of established character actors. Can you talk about the casting process?
Yes, it was fairly organic, and I mean, basically, as soon as we got going, we just started.
Names put all my friends in the movie.
Yeah, pretty much. Just emails. How about Michael Rooker? How about Sean?
Valentine, Fred Sexton, these are all Greg Henry, Michael Rooker, these are all I didn't know John Gallagher. Yeah, I didn't know John Gallagher, but I had auditioned John Gallagher for the role of Peter Quill in Guardians of the Galaxy. And even though John wasn't right for that role, it was probably the best audition I had ever seen in my entire life. And I'm like, I have to work with this guy someday, no matter what. And then you brought along Tony, who I've become good friends with him, but in the small role in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So it's like, it happened really quickly and organic.
And it was, I mean, it was massively helped by having that almost ensemble group of people who kind of made the shooting of the film like working with a kind of extended family, because everybody knew each other. We're all in Colombia, in Bogota, and so it kind of gave an ensemble theater feel to the actual making of the film, which was great.
Yeah, it was immensely fun to make this movie, which I think helped for a lot of the scenes that are incredibly intense, particularly the sort of central execution scene in the, that's kind of in the middle of the movie, but like that scene, which is horrifying. I remember reading the script and reading that scene and being like, this is really hard. It was hard to read, actually, but it was great to work with so many friends and people that I've become friends with, and it made it special.
And I think the other thing about shooting a film like this is that it's almost like the darker material. For me anyway, I don't know about you, James, but the darker the material is, the kind of more fun it tends to be on set, because you've got to keep it light to actually be able to do it. So I recall, even though those scenes are horrifying and extremely disturbing, there was quite a bit of fun.
Yes, it was.
There was a lot of gags, and when you walk, you're sliding around in fake blood all day and stuff. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but obviously the impact is different.
It is a dark movie, there's no doubt about it, but I think at the same time, one of the things that we talked about from the beginning was that the characters we had to like the characters and care about the characters. And, all of the characters, despite their faults, have some, Wendell's a bit of a piece of shit. Besides Wendell, they all have their points of view, and none of them are evil characters.
Bearded guy's evil too.
Who is?
Ben Davis.
Ben Davis, the bearded guy. Yeah, the bearded man, and son of a bitch. But besides those two guys, and they're all, even Barry Norris, the Tony Goldwyn character. Like, I understand that character. He made a choice. That's not, and I wouldn't call it. May be evil in the end, but he's not an evil person. And to be able to allow those characters and that affection for each other to play out in the movie is both kind of what makes it darker if you care about those characters, because then we're seeing people who care about slaughter. But it's also, I think, the thing that allows them to be somewhat alive, and it stands, apart from some other dark films.
And I think humanizing all the points of view was crucial, so that it wasn't saying here are the bad. Obviously there's kind of bad guys and good guys, but ultimately the movie is kind of a discussion of different points of view of how to handle a situation. And each of those actors had to actually not be judged. Like the storytelling is important. It doesn't actually say bad, good. They're all valid points of view of how to react to an insane situation. And the actors kind of were able to, walk that line.
And kudos for being able to kind of really identify each one of those characters and like kind of imbue with a personality. Like where it's like, okay, that guy, like that's a lot to kind of handle and manage. Audience, what do we got here? Yes. Here, hold on, I'm gonna pass this to you.
Addenda to Colin's question. I noticed that of all the characters that have ever been killed as Michael Rooker, okay, he had the gentlest, earliest, kind of most surprising.
Gentle?
No, he's very gentle in the movie, right? He's very sweet. He's very sweet.
I think it's gentlest death.
Gentlest death, because usually he splattered all over the place.
Right.
Or somebody's like shooting him 50,000 times with a large caliber weapon.
Keep me away from your friends.
What the hell happened kind of death was that one of his casting directors, or was it just because you're friends? How did that come about?
How did his death come about?
How did you decide that that's how he was going to go?
Well, he took that. I mean, I offered him the role of Bud, and that was what it was. I mean, it was like with my friends. I really offered them the roles that they were able to. With Sean, I gave Sean the script. I'm like, who interests you? Because there was like 2 or 3 roles in the movie that we thought would be good for Sean, and he's like, I want to play Marty. You know. Yeah.
Great job, everyone. I loved it.
Thank you.
It's like another one you always like catch your friends. Just the only person I couldn't find this time was which one was Stephen Blackheart?
He's in there, and he has the knife, and when Bearded Man is pouring out the knives on the counter, he comes up and says, "Hey, you dickhead, what are you doing?"
He takes the red pen. He's the guy who takes the red pen as well. The roller is there.
Yeah.
He's actually a lot of the movies.
Yeah, he's around. Yes.
My question is for James. When you're writing the script, do you have a set ending in mind, or are there a few alternatives that we're kicking around?
Was that always the ending you wanted?
There are a few different versions. There are a few different versions.
Like what?
How long do we have?
You're not going to pull a clue, are you?
Well, there's a version in which Marty lived. Because Marty's death is not very clear. There's a version in which he came out where Norris kills. There's a version where Norris kills John Gallagher's character, and he comes out, he thinks he's safe, and Marty's still there and uses those bombs to kill him. So there were a bunch of different versions.
And anyone in the balcony? You never see up in the balcony? No? Yell it out. Or fight for it. Yes.
Is there a sequel in the pipeline?
There's a sequel in the pipeline.
I guess it depends if the movie does well.
Yeah, it really depends on whether you guys get your friends to go see it or not.
If you do, yes.
There's some other bad things that are about to happen in a second right after this. So it would be great fun to tell that story. That's up to you. Don't fuck it up.
That's the great thing. I mean, the thing is, when you see films here at the festival, a lot of the time this is like round 0 for these films. And who knows where these are going to go. So you guys are here. This is a very pure thing you're in the middle of. So, on the yellow, yes.
Can you talk about the soundtrack?
Any thoughts on soundtrack?
Can you tell us of the soundtrack?
Well, Tyler Bates. James has worked with Tyler Bates on Guardians of the Galaxy, and he's one of the great composers that is working today. And he said, "What do you think of Tyler Bates?" And I'm like, "Awesome!" So we luckily had Tyler come on to the movie, which is great.
And Tyler also recorded all those songs. All those songs, when you hear California Dreamin', that was Tyler had a band together to record that song in Spanish or I Will Survive at the beginning of the film. So he did all that.
I didn't know that.
Now, James, when did you settle on this guy to direct?
I think, for me, when Greg came, we talked to a lot of different guys, and then they all said no, and then Greg came along and said yes.
I was available.
I think it was, really for Greg, it was seeing Wolf Creek, and it was the naturalism in the movie. And I think when, it almost sounded like slight when he was bringing up United 93 earlier, but that's actually Paul Greengrass and his films and the sort of naturalistic acting style of those movies. I didn't want to turn this into, Saw 27 or whatever and have it be a bunch of cartoon characters. I thought it's a really harsh movie. It is a horror thriller, but at the same time, I wanted the people to be real people, and I wanted to view them with real personalities, and I wanted to care about those characters, and that's the thing that Greg felt very strongly from the beginning, and that was apparent to both Peter and I from early on.
And in the orange, or red. Yeah.
Personally, I loved it, but why did you do that to the new girl?
Why do you do that to the new girl?
It's a very contentious question. I can only speak from my point of view, James, from my point of view as well. I think part of the fun of this script when I first read it is that it's basically surprising. To me, genre films are best when you get a surprise. You take something that's very known and you twist it around, and you do things that the audience will never expect. And it was amazing hearing the collective when she because that's what it's meant to do. You're meant to go, if you think a character's going to do one thing, they do the complete reverse. That to me is entertaining. I love movies that do that. That's why I thought it was a cool thing. People might have different views on whether they like it or not, but to me, I think it's fun.
I just think I tend to do one thing in the third act for every movie I write that people do not think is going to happen. And that, in Super, there's a situation with Ellen Page that happens. With in Slither, there's a big, huge story about how they're trying to get a hold of this grenade to stop the beast, and they take all the time getting this grenade, and then it just bounces off the wall and goes to the pool and it explodes. And here, Melanie Diaz gets shot in the face. But listen, she should have stayed in the elevator. I'm watching today, I'm like, why are you working so hard to get out of the elevator shaft? You're really pretty safe up there. Unless you're going to join in the fray and start killing people.
And then the final question, watching this, were there any unexpected laughs along the way here?
The dog pissing on the fence was that was a cool laugh.
What do you think? You thought something.
Yeah, gosh, what? I just know that there was at least twice when I was horrified and somebody was
Oh, Charlie Ferraro, my agent back there, and they're putting all the people down on their knees, and at that point people were not laughing. It was people were horrified, and all of a sudden they hear.
Is that Charlie? Oh my God.
That's an agent.
Oh my God.
They do.
It was Beatus.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
He was touching himself.